She says GLP-1s don't work unless you detox your liver, claims that most people have parasites, and also said that says that she's been at the top of every MLM company she's ever been a part of. What she's leaving out, in my opinion, is some important context, and we're going to talk about it today. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin Bees. I'm a certified personal trainer and a fitness nutrition specialist through ACE. And today we're not just going to react and give my commentary on what somebody in an MLM is saying. No. We're going to be looking at the pattern. So that is the theme for today, because this is coming from somebody who is now promoting a new company and is using the entire conversation to position it as the stable solution, the stable multi-level marketing company. And listen, I have a lot to say, and I know you are as well. So feel free to rage in the comments with me. So anyways, this is Shiloh. Shiloh was in Modair and was in Nueva, and spoiler alert, now she's in Vital Health. So this will all make sense once we get into the video. So let's watch it together.
Well, hello. This is just going to be a conversation. I was thinking about it today and I was like, I haven't had like just a full-on conversation with any of you in a long time. So hop on here, #live if you're coming in live, #replay if you're catching the replay.
What? Why are we doing hashtag live and #replay in 2026? Why are we doing that, Shiloh? Why are we doing that?
It's a beautiful, foggy, icy, rainy day in Duluth, Minnesota, but I absolutely love it. Like days like this, there's a word for people who like rainy days, and I'm that person. Hi, it's me. So I'm gonna let you guys hop on here. We're gonna have just a conversation, like what's happening. Let's talk about it. I've been in this space for 17 years and I've seen a lot. I've had some of the best experiences probably for any network marketer. I've been blessed to be at the top of pretty much every company I've been in, but that, yes, it's skill. Sometimes it's timing. A lot of the times it's looking into the company prior.
Is it really? Because word on the street, allegedly, is that this is somebody that, well, first of all, let me back up because she's leaving out some important context here. She is saying she's been at the top of almost every MLM company that she's a part of, but it's been alleged to me by many individuals. How do I want to say this? That there have allegedly been bridge contracts or strategic placements to make it appear like rapid rank advancements were happening, right? John Melton, huh? And it's interesting. Many of you sent me this video and I was like, man, why does she sound familiar? Why does she look familiar? Her name is familiar. It's because I covered her doing some Nueva training. So you can check out the Nueva playlist. And I was like, oh, well, apparently now she's not in Nueva. She's in Vital Health. So that was quick.
Understanding the leadership and things like that. So yes, have I been blessed and lucky and got in things at very good times? Have I positioned myself in good positions before?
Have you positioned yourself in good positions, or were you placed in said positions to make it look like, oh no, see, Modair, we're still rank promoting, we're doing really well, and then all of a sudden Modair's doors closed? Come on, just be honest. And then it's like, oh yeah, sure, it's skill. Is it, or is it you, in my opinion, being an opportunist and getting side deals? And just call it what it is. This is wild.
Yes. But I think it comes down to asking the right questions. So this isn't about a specific company or anything like that. We're just going to have a conversation.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And that's why she keeps saying, oh, this is just a conversation. We're just going to have a conversation. She's going to point out all the things that are wrong with multi-level marketing and then point to Vital Health. This is my prediction. Point to Vital Health and then say, oh, but see, this is different. This is different, you guys. That's what's going to happen here.
About the industry, because there's a lot happening. I made a prediction back in December that 2026 was going to probably eliminate or reduce the wellness network marketing space in the United States. Why the United States, Shiloh? Well, European markets are much different. Mexico, Latino markets and South American markets are different. It's just different. The economies are different. Things are run different. But what we've had in the United States is we've had tons of supplementation for years and years. We've had amazing companies. I'm not here to knock any companies because there are so many amazing companies and products. That's not where I'm at. And just because somebody joins a company, it's not always because, well, these products are much better and this is this. It's like, what's your passion? Pick your passion, right?
Now this, I think, is quite interesting actually, because she's acknowledging that MLMs are not stable. She's acknowledging that that industry is not stable. We've seen companies shut down. We've seen markets shifting, as she's referring to here, and things not working like they used to. And that's real. And I'd like to pat all of us on the back that are part of the anti-MLM movement for contributing to that. But I do want to mention, pay attention to how this is going to be used later, because this is her setting up for a solution. So when we see people in multi-level marketing that are saying, hey, this is what's going on in MLMs, this has been my experience, and then the solution to that is always going to be, according to them, the current MLM company that they're a part of, that is, debt-free, and we know how all of that works. So pay attention to that, because today is really about the pattern.
But you have to ask the right questions as well. Like when you join something, and I posted this the other day, not to insult, because I have felt the pain of making decisions that I thought at the time were the best decision. And again, when you make pivots and shifts or changes, or you join a person or a company, hype is a big part of it, because we want to be excited. We want to be jacked the F up, right? Like, raise your hand. I want to be excited. I want to be passionate. I get it. I totally get it. But at the end of the day, you also have to ask the questions like, is there stability behind this? Who's funding it? Where's the funding come from? Are they in debt? Where's the private investors? Like, what's the reality of this? What are their reorder rates? Things like that. It's the boring questions, right? But the ones that matter. And you also have to be able to look ahead and see what's coming. And I made some really good predictions with information at the time that I had, and I made pivots over the years. I didn't make a lot, but the last 3 years I had to bounce a little bit. And that was painful because I'm not used to that. I'm not used to leaving in under a year. I'm not used to having that stuff happen. So when I made a decision to leave a company I was with for 7 years.
She's talking about Modere, FYI.
I went and helped build a company to the top. And startups are tough. Like I've been a part of 2 or 3 startups. We've done really well, but you have to be ready to weather the storms.
Now, the interesting part about this is allegedly she left Modere, was placed in a position that made her an elite, which was a rank in Modere. Again, allegedly, it made it look like, oh no, see, we're doing great. I think I've already mentioned this earlier in the video. We're doing great. Don't worry about it. Look, see, we're promoting, we're popping new elites. I think that was how they used to word that. We're popping new elites. See, we're doing great. And then Modere closed their doors and she joined Nueva. She didn't stay there very long. And the thing that I find really interesting is she's trying to make it seem like, hey, you guys need to ask the right questions, because she wants you to ask the right questions about vital health. She's not doing this to be like, hey, in my opinion, hey, this is what's going on in our industry. No. She wants you guys to ask the right questions, because this is where the responsibility starts getting shifted. Instead of asking why these companies are unstable, it becomes, well, but did you ask the right questions? And it's a really common tactic that we see from people in multi-level marketing, especially when they're trying to recruit other people from other companies. If something fails, it's not the system, it's the individual.
A startup. So kudos to anyone who's been a part of a startup. Kudos if you are in a startup. There's no knocking it. You just have to be prepared for the challenges, and you have to be patient. You have to be able to be flexible. You have to be able to ride the wave, and you have to believe in the long-term vision. It can't just be in 6 months we're going to do this. No, you have to be prepared for the 6-year run. And that doesn't mean stay. I'm not saying that either. If there are cracks in a system or a company, You should ask the questions if there's red flags, if there's things going on with integrity, if there's just things that structurally aren't working. It's okay. I'm not telling you when to leave or not to leave. I'm just telling you it does happen. It happens to the best of us. We say never again, how many times? But I think, over this last 2 years, I went back to a company that I'd been with because some things had changed, shifted.
When you went back to that company, were you also placed in an elite position? Let me explain what that means. So it's been alleged to me that people like Tony Zalecki, Sarah Zalecki, John and Nadia Melton, again, alleged to me, that they will or would instruct their downlines that had teams. If one of their really good producing legs, the leader of that leg, decided to go to another company or get out of multi-level marketing as a whole, that they were advised to buy that position from said leader, and then they could use that position in the company to entice another leader from another company and say things like, hey, if you come over here, I've got this position that's producing X number of dollars in income. I'll put you right in that position. You're going to make instant income in this amount from this position. So it's been alleged to me, I'm not stating this as a fact, that Shiloh, when she left Modere and came back, that allegedly she was placed into an existing elite position. And yeah, so she's telling part of the story, but again, she's leaving out some important alleged context,
And new leadership was in charge that I was really excited about. I dug my heels in. We were rebuilding a whole team. And we were making it. Like, we finally got there. It was last year about this time. We were at an event in Houston. And I'll remember, like, holy cow, I can feel the light. Like, I can tell that we're finally getting our momentum back. We're feeling good. And then, that story. I mean, they closed the doors. We didn't get paid. And it was a shock, right? It was a shock. Although, was it a shock when you're looking back? No, the company was experiencing problems. We were just hoping that we had rode the storm.
Hello. Case in point, or dare I say, Exhibit A. And I feel like this is one of the biggest red flags in multi-level marketing is the company gets shut down, people didn't get paid. Working, building, and then not getting paid, but you're your own business owner. At least that's what these people tell others online. But that is not normal in a legitimate business structure, a legitimate business that you own. And it's something that you never hear talked about this openly. So it's really interesting that she is saying these things, but let's not forget that the reason that she's saying these things is because she wants you to join Vital Health. I haven't covered Vital Health a ton. I think I have 1 or 2 videos. I'll link that playlist down below. But that's, in my opinion, that's what she's doing here. She's saying some things that are truthful, leaving out important context, and then she's going to present Vital Health without saying it's Vital Health as the stable solution, because that's the company that she's in now. So naturally, that's going to be the solution in her video,
And the storm was still there. We just didn't know. And decisions were made that didn't necessarily have to be the way they did it, but they're owned by multiple people and investors, and that's what happens. So at the end of the day, I don't sit and flip out about it. I don't sit and go, I can't believe them and they're so horrible. I'm like, they made a business decision. Unfortunately, it hurt a lot of people and it forced us into decisions and corners. So then you go, what do I do? Do I go over to companies that I've looked at and I'm not really a fan of? Maybe you don't like the leadership. Maybe you're just not a fan of the culture. And that's okay, because if you don't love the culture, you're not going to change it unless you're really, really strong and you really come in balls to the walls and are willing to do that. Cultures are pretty set. Yes, you can shake them up. We've been a part of that before. I'm proud. I've actually changed and shifted and shaped cultures before.
God, the arrogance. Is it just me? Or can y'all feel the arrogance from her? I mean,
fit into cultures. It just depends on the company and the place. But again, what's going on in the industry is kind of an alarm. If you think everything is sunshine and rainbows, you really have to make sure that the stability is there. And I gave it a shot. We worked on something. We worked on a project that we launched, and it was very quick.
She's talking about Nueva. FYI. She's talking about Nueva. Notice how the names are never shared. She's making it seem like it's a legitimate business venture. No, you're talking about Nueva. You were talking about Modair. Just be honest.
And there was a lot of good that came out of it, a lot of good. And here's the bottom line. I will tell anyone who's built in this industry, the MLM PTSD, I understand what you're saying when you have it. I'm not insulting anyone who feels that way. What I'm saying is, did you join a company based off of excitement and hype, and maybe you followed a leader? But did you ask the right questions? Did you go into that company knowing what their their logistics were, what their manufacturing was? You know, did you ask those questions? Because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't, and I get it. You want to trust. You trust the people, and sometimes you trust the same people over and over until you finally wake up and go, okay, maybe they're not asking the questions, or maybe there's another reason they're there, and maybe they're excited and you're just like, I'm not into it. That's okay. But I think we have to start making decisions based on long term. And I've had people leave my team over the years that have said, listen, I know this is a short-term deal and I need the money. I'm like, if you know that and you're willing to take the risk, go ahead. I wish you the best. I don't get upset at people. I don't.
God. Notice how this is all framed right now. People follow leaders, then they regret it. But again, the takeaway being pushed is that you should have made better decisions. Not that the structure itself encouraged blind trust and hype. No, 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 no. You guys didn't ask the right questions. So it's your fault. This is unbelievable.
But here, let's talk about the industry. You know, we see it all the time. You know, companies go affiliate. All of a sudden the doors close. Either they file bankruptcy, they go affiliate, and you're shocked. But a lot of the leaders are not shocked. They're going, we wish that didn't happen, right? And I think for me, I got tossed around and I made decisions. These were my decisions, so I'm not blaming anybody. Even the doors closing, I'm not blaming anybody because that's silly. It's life. But I chose to make a pivot really early on this year because I could see that it just wasn't working for our team. It wasn't working, and that's okay.
Sounds like there's a little bit of trouble in Nueva. And I love that for them. Yeah, really love that for them. I think that's probably why they're coming out with a greens powder. So innovative, Tony. They're coming out with digestive enzymes, I think, electrolytes. Wow, the innovation. That's sarcasm, by the way.
That's not, it doesn't work for anyone. It's not, it was just the way it was going and what people had. They put expectations on something and it wasn't matching their expectations. Anyone understand what I'm talking about? We can say this in life. And when you have to make those decisions are very difficult because you're going, well, this is going to look even worse on my credibility because now I have to leave and I have to pivot and I have to start over. And I sat for 2 months.
You know what is even worse when it comes to your credibility? When you don't tell the whole story. When you don't talk about the alleged deals, bridge contracts, things of that nature, the being placed allegedly into those positions where it makes you look like, oh my God, look at what she just achieved. People were watching. People were watching when you left Modair. People were watching when you came back. It was so obvious. Be so for real right now. If we're going to talk about credibility, you probably should tell the whole story.
Months I was exhausted, guys. Like, I was exhausted. I'm not a machine. And honestly, this last 3 years have worn me down. So I have to really be in a place where I believe in something. And I've spent I would say 9 months consulting for multiple companies either in the MLM space.
Consulting? For what? What were you consulting about? Were you shopping for deals? This is such a weird thing to say. What do y'all think she was consulting with these MLM companies? Because I think that's I don't even know what the word is that I want to use here. Fancy or an elaborate way to talk about shopping deals? I would love to know what that consultation looked like.
Affiliate space, some of them in the pharmaceutical space, like kind of in that middle space. And what I'm seeing is there's some red flags. If you're not operating or moving into more AI operated systems, I'm talking in your back offices. I'm not saying you have to brand yourself AI. That is not where I'm going. When people hear AI, sometimes they go, oh my God, AI. I'm like, no, no, no. AI has a lot of benefits, okay?
Do you guys think that she was consulting with Trinori, whose back office is going to be AI based? Let me know in the comments.
Saving companies a ton of money. It's saving them a ton of money, which puts more money in your pocket. It also saves them from probably debt and things like that. Are your companies making proper shifts to move with the times? Our economy shifted dramatically. After COVID, COVID was the biggest wealth exchange in the history of time. The biggest exchange of wealth happened during COVID.
Oh, and why did that happen? Because people were out of work, people were furloughed, people were terrified that they were going to be able to keep food on the table, their electricity on, and people in multi-level marketing took advantage of that fear, recruited these people into these, I almost said product-based pyramid schemes, I'm going to say multi-level marketing companies, under the guise that they were going to make money, and they didn't, because we know the statistics with multi-level marketing. When I hear somebody in multi-level marketing talk about how successful they were during the pandemic, it makes me sick to my stomach, because I know that there are so many people that they took advantage of that were looking to make actual income. And we know that didn't happen. It just makes me so sick. It was one of the many wake-up calls that I had when I was in Prove It, which was the last company, and I left in June of 2021. When Prove It started to sell hand sanitizer during a shortage, when they started to do the Keto Dollar Club where you could join Prove It for $1, but then they weren't telling people until they spent that dollar that they also had to buy product. Absolutely not. When I hear somebody in multi-level marketing talk about how successful they were during the pandemic, they ought to be ashamed of themselves.
Some of y'all made a ton of money, and that's awesome. Everyone was sitting, hi Jerry, everyone was sitting behind the screen like this. Everyone was home. You had so much exposure to your business. You could literally be like, here's my drink, send me
Guarantee you that's a Vital Health product she's got in that cup.
a message, and you would have had 50 people, right? That's just COVID. We loved it. We love COVID numbers. I'm never going to say I didn't love it.
That is disgusting.
I mean, it was the biggest paychecks I've ever had in my life. But I've done very well in the industry too. I've been a consistent 7-figure earner for 10 years. And that took a lot of grit, a lot of sacrifice.
A lot of deals too, right?
And some of the sacrifice, guys, was my kids. Okay? I've talked about this. And when I say my kids, I didn't like ignore my kids. What I'm saying is my kids got pushed to the side a lot in the beginning of a big build.
So you did ignore your kids. This is something that I know happens in multi-level marketing because of personal experience. The MLM takes over everything, and your life and your family becomes the part-time job. You fit in life, family, social life, things like that where you can, because the MLM takes over everything. Because that's what these uplines show, their downlines, as a way to be successful. Well, you have to continue to work 24/7. And if family stuff gets in the way, oh, well, that's a problem. You feel guilty, you're shamed sometimes. Like, why didn't you get on the call? Oh, it was my kid's birthday. Or I can't go to the event because it's my kid's birthday. Oh, well, sacrifices need to be made. So it's interesting to me that she's saying, I didn't ignore them, but they did get brushed to the side. So you did ignore them. This is something that happens in multi-level marketing. It's the reason that now when my kids come in, when I'm filming or I'm live streaming, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm going to stop and I'm going to address what they have to say because it's important to me. But when you're in an MLM, you're so brainwashed to think, well, I have to replicate what my upline is doing so that I can be so successful. And if that involves working 24/7, because down the road, I'm hopefully going to be able to provide for my family and do whatever, goals you had when you joined MLM, you think that you're actually going to achieve that. And that upline is counting on you thinking that because they know that you're going to continue to work. Meanwhile, your kids are off in the corner like, where's my parent? Like, they don't even want to talk to me because they're working 24/7. It's gross.
And I had to repair that. Because they were going to dad. One day it dawned on me, and I healed it from this day on. My kids went to my husband, and I was like, hey, what did you ask dad? And they're like, oh, I just asked him for this. I said, why didn't you just ask me? I was standing right there. They're like, well, you're never available. And I just sat there. I'm like, I'm sitting right here. And they're like, I know, Mom, but usually you're on the phone and usually you tell us you're busy. And I literally was like, whoa, waterworks. I need to fix this. And I did. The biggest blessing in my lifetime, and you're going to think it's funny, was a lawsuit. I got sued to high heaven for an obscene amount of money that I ended up settling and paying a lot of that money. And it lasted 2.5 years. Biggest blessing of my life.
I wonder who sued her. I don't know that. But if you do, message me, or if you feel comfortable and want to drop it in the comments, that would be cool too. Either way, I wonder if whatever company she left Modere for, if when she left that company and went back to Modere, I wonder if that's who sued her. I'm not really sure.
Okay? So thank you to my suers. No, I mean it lovingly, because it forced me to pay attention to things I needed to pay attention to. It sat me down. I wasn't traveling. I was stressed to the max. I was a complete train wreck. I was drinking myself into oblivion, but it was also COVID. Then COVID came into the mix, I think after. I can't remember if it was right after, but it forced me to really look at what is important and what I'm doing this for. Look at me. I'm building a team. I'm spending all my time on the phone. I'm nonstop working, and now I'm getting sued, and now I'm dealing with lawyers, and I'm in tears, and I'm stressed to the max, and every day I'm getting an email from another lawyer, and if you've ever been sued on this level, you understand what I'm talking about. It is the worst. I don't wish it on my enemies. I don't.
It is the worst. As somebody that has been involved in a lawsuit, it's the worst. It's scary. It's not something that most people ever have to deal with. I was sued by Pure Romance. When was this? What year was this? 2014? Something like that. It was horrible. It was horrible.
I don't. It's not easy. No matter who you are and what side you're on, nobody wins. The lawyers win. Remember that every time. If you want to waste your money on a lawsuit, at the end of the day, most likely you're not going to get what you put for the energy and the exhaustion and the pain that you go through. No money is worth it unless it's 10x what you spent on it. And even then, most people would say it took a piece of them. It really does. It's not fun. But every level's a new devil, and I took it as a compliment at the end of the day. When I finally got through it, I was like, well, I mean, I guess I was something, if that. But I made mistakes too, and I own them. We settled, and life moved on. I quit drinking. But my kids, I've sacrificed so much that people didn't see, because you always look like you're perfect. Everything's for the gram, right? Oh my God, like we have the best life. We have the perfect family, and we travel everywhere, and we're always happy. We never fight. Oh my God, there was fights all the time, and sadness, tears. Then there was good times too. But I'm just being honest with you guys. Like, it is definitely a lot on a family, and it took its toll.
I really feel like what she's trying to do here specifically with this part is trying to paint the picture that it's different with Vital Health. And maybe I've mentioned that earlier in this video, but I really feel like she's trying to say, oh, I learned throughout all of this and this is different.
But we navigated it pretty well during that time. And we had a lot of good times and a lot of good memories. We created freedom for our family oh my God, it was a blessing. Bought a beautiful home, bought a beautiful lake home as well, but toys and horses, and my kids still have the horses, and the home is still there. And as much as I'm not there and I'm not living in it, I'm still glad that my family, my kids can enjoy that with their dad, and that's awesome. There's nothing. Divorces suck, I'll tell you that, but at the end of the day, it's not one thing. It's two people. But back to the industry, I'm telling you, 2026 is gonna separate the boys from the men. And when I say that, I'm not threatening like where I'm going is the only place. What I'm saying is where I am, I chose stability over hype. I chose things like ownership, debt-free. I chose things that I know will matter over the next year. Because
see how it suddenly shifted to her current company is the solution, is the more stable choice. She chose stability over hype. See how that just shifted? Yeah, bring in Vital Health. That's what's happening here. This is no longer just commentary on what's going on in the MLM industry. This is positioning. This is very strategic. This entire narrative is leading to this very moment. Fear of instability, companies shutting down, not getting paid, the lawsuit. Now the solution is, oh, this new company. Is she going to say it like that? No. But that's what she's doing.
Some people can ride waves. Okay, we can ride those waves. Maybe we can, maybe we have a spouse or we have extra income where it's like, oh, it's fine, I can ride this. I totally get that. For someone like me, who this is my sole income, and yes, I have other things too that I work on, but this is the main source. It really does matter. I can't risk another hope that they do it right. hope that there's money next month, hope, and this isn't in one company, I'm saying this is just how I feel. You don't want to be on that page. I'd rather start over from scratch, which by the way, we did. I mean, when I say start over, I would say the majority of our team went over to a couple other companies. Some of them are still hanging. Everybody kind of dispersed, but there's about 5 or 6 of us. And I'm not talking about big producing like things. This was worn out people who were like, I need a breath. So I wasn't expecting people to go balls to the walls. They had to believe and trust and develop this and believe in what we were about to do. And so that took time. It took time. But I'm really grateful of the decision we made, because I know we made a long-term decision. Stability, affordability. Also, what I'm going to tell you guys is, if you think you're going to be slinging these high ticket items, regular products at high ticket, and you compare them, what's coming? You know, there's companies like where I'm at where we can pay out 60 to 86% commissions. If you do retail, you can make up to 100 to 500%. That's there, but there's also warehouse pricing coming. There's companies that are cutting out middlemans. There are people using AI that's saving a ton of money, and, you know, affiliate models. And you can't compete when your overhead is crushing the bottom line. So basically, when you're selling a $200, maybe $180 item, but your return is 10%, come on, guys, you can't compete. You can't compete. It's going to wear your customers out. They're spending a ton of money. Your products better be gold. You better be walking on freaking water every day. Because this is the market we're in. We're in a totally different time than 5 years ago. And that's what I've been trying to kind of say. I'm like, it's not that these products are bad. There's no really bad products in the space. There's really not. It's all great products. Even if they're white labeled, they're still good products, right? The problem is affordability versus the return. So if I'm going and slinging $100 to $200 product and I'm making $10, I could go to TikTok shop and sell my own stuff. Like that's where we're at. We just have a competitive market that's crushing a lot of companies. And that
Okay, so this is a very classic recruiting tactic. Notice the switch, notice the little, hey, where I'm at, we can pay out 60 to 80%. You compare percentages of commission, but you don't talk about actual profit, market demand, or sustainability, because higher commission doesn't matter if the product isn't competitive or competitively priced or consistently selling. However, I do agree with her about TikTok Shop. I think this is one of her most honest moments in this entire video that we've seen so far, because she's acknowledging that MLM products are overpriced. I don't agree with the fact that she said there's not a bad product. I think there's lots of terrible products within multi-level marketing companies for so many reasons. However, the fact that people can get similar items, similar things cheaper elsewhere, yeah. And I'm not saying TikTok Shop is ethical. We know TikTok is, in my opinion, not a safe place for people that are in the US. And I've had to grapple with, how do I navigate this, knowing that because of who purchased them. I can't think of the name of the company right now. So let's see what else she has to say.
That's why, and then the next one is the big one. And this is why wellness is kind of on the chopping block right now. Only US. Why? Canada's food is not the same as US food. European standards, Canadian standards are much higher than the United States. In the United States, we can eat plastic, for God's sakes. And we are eating plastic. So our standards for food quality and what we consume is pretty low. So supplementation, thank you, Katie. Supplementation is needed, right? So what came into the market that's now accessible for the masses? GLP-1s. And I believe in them. I fully support them. And I think they're great. With a doctor and making sure that you're getting guidance. You don't just get on one and guess. Don't do that.
I don't think that that's how that works. I don't think you go to a doctor and they're like, here's GLP-1, no guidance. Maybe it does happen. However, I do think that GLP-1s are fantastic for a certain demographic, but I want to take this opportunity to remind everybody that if a doctor is prescribing a GLP-1 specifically for weight loss, that is an off-label use. That's not what that product was, or not product, that's not what that medication was designed for. So yeah, just wanted to point that out.
Are serious drugs and they do work, but meaning they do work, they can also backfire. Not every single GLP-1 works for every single person. Some people can't take them at all. Please be mindful, go to a doctor. I am not like condoning no doctors. Anyways, peptides and GLP-1s came on the scene. And what it did is it cut out supplementation a lot. Now, do I believe that you shouldn't supplement? No, I think you need supplementation more than ever.
I think that you are outside of your scope when it comes to supplementation. You're speaking in very broad and generic terms. I think if somebody needs to supplement something, they should go to a doctor, they should have some lab work done, and they should talk to that doctor about those results. And if they're deficient in something, that doctor will say, take this vitamin, or here's how you can supplement this, or get more of this specific vitamin or whatnot based off of the foods that you're eating. Maybe they refer to a registered dietitian to help them with that. So when I hear people in multi-level marketing that are speaking on GLP-1s, that are speaking on, oh, I think supplementation is important, that is because they are trying to sell you some kind of a supplement. Let's just call a spade here.
But the weight loss market is what runs the market in the United States because we have an obesity epidemic. We have people that struggle with weight, insulin resistance. This is because of the diets, and it's not all because you're not trying. It is because it is very difficult, no matter how healthy you are, clean eating you are, to not consume things that cause inflammation. I'm saying all the buzzwords right now. If this gets taken down, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, you're saying all the buzzwords.
So now you got inflammation, which causes every single problem in your body. Every single problem is tied back to this. And now what do you need? Now you need to detox your liver and your kidneys. And even if you get on an injection, you need to detox your liver and kidneys because most people have fatty livers. It's not about drinking. It's not. Most people have fatty livers, liver flukes. Most people have been exposed to liver flukes. Doesn't matter what you do. And you need to detox. You want your GLP-1s to work, you need to detox. Because if you have ever been stuck or you're plateaued even on a weight loss product, you go, Shiloh, why do I take a product and it works for me for 1 month, 2 months, and then it stalls? This is why it stalls. Your body is overtaxed already. Now you added something that's making it go like this. It's trying to heal itself. It's trying to help you lose weight. It's like, yeah, we're rolling, right? All of a sudden your digestion goes, it slows down because that's what they do. And you have to supplement with something to make sure that stays going. And people think that one shot and being skinny is healthy. I want you to win. I want you to lose the fat that you have. I want you to feel better. I want your inflammation to go down. I want your hormones to get balanced. Yes. But you also need to support those injections.
I actually need to take a breath for just a second because this is such health misinformation. I can only imagine what the comment section is going to look like when you guys get to this part of the video. GLP-1s do not require detoxing your liver from liver flukes. That is fear-based. Everything does not tie back necessarily to inflammation. These are oversimplified buzzwords that she is using, and I guarantee you she, via private message, is going to try and get people into vital health from those, I don't even know what to call it other than health misinformation. These are medications that we're talking about that should be managed by a licensed medical provider, not some rando that jumps from MLM companies to MLM companies. My God. Adding random supplements because someone online told you your body is overloaded with toxins is anything but evidence-based. And this is where MLM wellness spaces get really dangerous, in my opinion, because now we're mixing income opportunity with medical claims. Oh my God.
You have to. Because you're putting yourself at a bigger risk down the road, okay? There's nothing wrong with them. I condone them. I think go for it, especially women who are 35 plus. Heck yeah, the hormone support is wild. But don't abuse them. Use a doctor. And going up is not always better. With a GLP-1, going down is better. So if you're stuck, maybe
don't take medical advice from this person.
Titrate down. That would be my advice. So, okay, so we're going back to this. Why is the wellness market struggling? Because of that. Because you just exposed the masses to a very powerful and approved method to help them finally lose weight.
Except that's an off-label use of GLP-1 medications. That's the part she's leaving out.
Feel better, right? Where it's quick. And we all know people want instant. That doesn't mean these are instant. But when you go through this, remember, you need to have products that support it. You can't stop supplementing. And I'm going to tell you that right now. You can't. Just because you lost weight doesn't mean you stop supplementing. Your body needs all that. So I'm not.
All of what? Your body needs all of what? The fact that she is trying to make it seem like she is an expert in nutrition, I don't know, does she have any credentials, or is she just some MLMer that jumps from company to company based on whoever's going to offer her a deal, allegedly? This is infuriating. One, people that are on GLP-1 medications work with their doctor, work with a nutritionist, a registered dietitian, something along those lines, to make sure that they're getting enough. The fact that there are these companies, specifically, like, let's talk about Arbonne, because I just did a video on that recently. Arbonne has a GLP-1 support product that is nothing more than a fiber supplement. We've seen other MLM companies that target GLP-1 users that have been prescribed by their doctor products to help with appetite suppressant. Why does somebody that's on a GLP-1 medication, where we know they're going to be eating less, need an appetite suppressant? Watching these companies, these distributors in multi-level marketing that are trying to lump themselves into the GLP-1 conversation by offering a natural GLP-1 or a GLP-1 support product is so disgusting.
I'm not even selling a GLP-1, but I'm telling you, I'm not going to lie and say, oh, no one's doing that, or oh, you shouldn't do that. What? Why? But I am going to tell you that that is what's taking over the market, and you can't stop it. But here's the thing. I'm not here to compete with them. I'm not here to compete with them, but I will tell you this. You need to be smart in your decision to partner with a company that is stable, financially backed, has ownership. If they can be debt-free, great. If they can own everything, they win. Because right now the manufacturers are crushing the supplement companies because they're overpriced, and the manufacturers are charging it because they're getting hit with it. So now your prices go up, but your returns go down. So you're going, why am I making 10%, 15% when my girlfriend over here is making 50%, 60%, 80%? It's a no-brainer. And this isn't mean, but don't tell me that you'd rather make 20% versus 60 to 80. That would be silly. That'd be silly. And now, I'm not insulting anyone. If you're in a company and you're happy and that makes you feel good, good. But if you're trying to make a living, you have to be realistic about this. Can your customers afford your products?
Okay. So she's quietly mentioning everything that's wrong, or very specific things that are wrong with the multi-level marketing model. The high overhead, the high prices, low returns, and then wondering why customers leave. Then she is talking about the debt-free, or a company being debt-free, owning everything, higher commissions. This is another recruitment pitch. Because remember at the beginning of this, she was like, we're just going to have a conversation. We're just going to talk about what's going on. No, this has everything to do with recruiting into Vital Health. Debt-free, ownership, high commissions, AI systems. These are all talking points designed to make this company feel like the safe option, the stable option. My God. Pay attention to the patterns.
At the end of the day, that's why they're leaving. Listen, if they know they can go get something for $100 less, they're gonna. And you can't get mad at them for it. And you also should look at that and go, hey, if we're not in a competitive market right now, this might not be the best choice. So when I pivoted, I made a decision knowing I was going to start from scratch. I'm talking from scratch. And completely over, and know that that's a very hard thing to do. But knowing I have a debt-free company that owns the logistics, the manufacturing, the real estate it sits on, there's no debt. I mean, when I go through the things, when I'm getting paid 60 to 86% on my sales, on the dollar, when I'm saving hundreds of dollars on products every month, I'm literally saving so much money I don't know what to do with it. I have all these credits. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to use these? When you can retail it, when you can be a preferred customer, save money, or you want to build a team, doesn't matter. You can do it anyway. There's no wrong way. You can make money any way you want. But it's the AI running the show as well on the back end, when you have systems in place and things that are being handled, and keeping the money in the right place towards new products, towards the people. hundreds of millions, global company. So I'm proud of my choice, but I will tell you, it's not because of what I did. It's because I started looking at everything and I saw a huge problem, and it's about to happen. And because of the economy, and now we're in a global conflict that's going to change economic behaviors again, you really have to think about that.
And I really think that this would be a great time for people, if you're in an MLM and you're watching this, maybe you're somebody that is close to this individual or was in her downline or just somewhere around her. Maybe now is the time for you to consider getting out of multi-level marketing. Maybe now is the time to really look at, what am I doing here? You know, also, I forgot what kind of products Vital Health offers. Yeah, supplements. So of course she's like, you should always supplement because she sells supplements, right? Like, you can't even make this up. Oh, and they have detox products too. So of course, you know, you got to detox your liver, and you have parasites and liver flukes, which are parasites, but come on. Of course it's supplements.
You might be excited. You might have a leader that's, oh my God, they're so fun. They fire me up. But are you going to get paid? Because at the end of the day, that hype wears off. Those leaders don't answer the phone. Not all of them. Some are great. I'm not knocking leaders, but you know the people I'm talking about. They're here one day, they're out the next. And all of a sudden they became an expert. All of a sudden they started taking peptides and they became an expert in 2 months. That's dangerous too. I don't like that. So guys, be careful with that. Be careful with compliance. I'm just going to say it. I don't care if people get mad.
Oh my God. And this is the emotional close for her pitch. Fear. Are you going to get paid? The fear of not getting paid, the fear of choosing the wrong company, the fear of missing out on the right company this time. Oh my God.
No. That isn't going to fly, and you won't last. If you think making crazy claims and all this non-compliant stuff's going to get you by because maybe you're flying under the radar, it won't. It won't. Trust me, there's bots waiting to take down groups, to take down people who make wild claims, and I see it every day. No matter what company, I see it all the time. And you just can't do it.
The irony of this, calling out health claims, income claims, calling out compliance, all while earlier making medical claims about detoxing and GLP-1s. It's the irony for me.
Can't do it. So be smart, make good choices. And honestly, it doesn't mean you have to partner with me. It doesn't mean you have to come over with me. What I'm saying is, have you asked the right questions? And what do you want? Do you want longevity? If you want longevity, you have to ask the boring questions that matter. And partner with somebody who's committed to their team and to working the long haul with you, that picks up the phone. That's important too. So don't get caught up in the hype. Don't chase every shiny penny. And when I say shiny penny, I'm really talking about products. Don't chase.
Oh yeah, right. Because chasing the money, chasing the deals, she's cool with that, allegedly, and in my opinion.
The crazy, like, at the end of the day, it's simple stuff that wins. Simple, affordable, boring, and stable. So I hope you all stay warm. We are enjoying our ice storm / now it's raining. And yeah, foggy here in Duluth, Minnesota. But thanks for hopping on and catching my live. If you got any value from this, #value, #live, #replay. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.
God, that was embarrassing. Here's the thing, you guys. If somebody has been the top of multiple MLM companies, has watched companies shut down, pivoted multiple times, and is now telling you that this time they've found the stable one, that's not just experience like I feel like she wants you to think. That is a pattern. And patterns, especially when we're talking about this, you know, recruiting and MLM companies, the patterns really matter, because what you're being shown isn't just advice. This was her positioning, her pitch for Vital Health. Did she mention Vital Health? No. Is that the company that she's a part of? Yes. Positioning you to believe the industry is unstable while also selling you the opportunity that feels like a safe choice. And it's not, because it's another MLM company. The reality is the structure hasn't changed, the risk has not changed, and the outcome for the majority of people has not changed. So before you follow anybody into the next stable opportunity, please ask yourself one question. If this model worked the way that they say it does, why do they keep having to start over? And I'll let you guys sit with that. If this helped you see things a little bit more clearly, please, if you would, make sure that you have liked today's video, subscribe to the channel. It helps get the word start out, check out the playlists that are linked in the video description before. And as always, stay safe, don't get scammed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everybody.